45 minutes to an hour with us today on the call. As I look at the attendee list, I see that many of our good friends are on today's call. So, hey, everybody, good to see you out there, and wish I could hear your voice, but good to see some good friends out there. I also see that there are quite a few attendees who are not familiar with us. So before we begin, I just want to take a quick minute to introduce myself and our company. My name is Lori Beck, and I'm the president of Insurance Network America. We've been working with independent advisors and agents in the life, annuity, long-term care, and employee benefit markets since 1987. Many of our employees have been working by my side for over 20 years, and I'm proud to be their leader. In June of 2021, we made the decision to become part of the Simplicity Group, and we are so grateful for all that partnership has brought to our team, and also to our agents and advisors who choose to work with us. We now have more products, more support, more marketing, and more opportunities than ever before, including an opportunity to work with today's presenter, Mr. Don Quante. Don is one of my business partners, and he is a tremendous resource for all of us. In the 30+ years I've been in this business, I've never known anyone who knows the long-term care space as much as Don, nor anyone who has had as much success as he has with prospecting and selling these products. I could spend a long time talking about Don's credentials as an author, a lifetime top of the table member of the MDRT, and talk about his expertise. But again, I want to be mindful of your time. So I'm going to let Don's talent speak for itself as he shares this valuable information with us today. Don, are you ready to get started?
Laurie, thank you. What a kind and gracious and wonderful introduction. And so wow, what exciting information to be sharing today. And I wanted to point one thing out, Laurie, before we get started. For those of you who are seeing the screen right now, you're seeing it says 4-part training program, session 4. What we did was we took part of our what basically boils down to be about 4 hours of really good training, and we redid it based on a couple of things that are going on in the country. So I want you to make sure you pay close attention to the training, but more important, at the end we're going to have an offer for you to get the other 3 sessions of the training free of charge. So let's go ahead and get started. We've allowed about 45 minutes to get through this very important information. And what I'm going to do during that time is I'm going to talk a little bit about what the Pension Protection Act is, how it can be used with your clients, and why this might be the biggest opportunity that you'll have in 2023. We are going to feature a new guarantee issue long-term care solution. And we're going to talk about some other ideas regarding asset-based long-term care as well. I mentioned this might be the best opportunity, and there's an untapped market that's out there that you're going to learn about today. We're going to do a couple of studies that deal with the Pension Protection Act. And then what we're going to do is we're going to finish up, and we're going to tell you a little bit about the most recent thinking as it pertains to wealthy families' buying habits centered around long-term care, what they're thinking. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that there's now 13 states, and I did say that right, Lori, 13 states that are planning on mandating some type of long-term care initiative for their taxpayers. I think you'll be hearing more about that in 23 and 2024. And then the impact that COVID's had. That is a big deal when it comes to talking about this topic. And then the last thing we're going to cover today is how you can access our lead generation system. And if you're doing business with INA, or you'll consider that, you're going to get this for free. And this lead generation system is something that you can use without spending a penny on advertising. So let's go ahead and jump right in. When you think about how many life insurance policies are in force, there's 267 of those devils out there, right? But then when you take it a step further and you say, well, what's it look like when you think about cash value inside of life insurance and annuity contracts. The most recent numbers from III.org is 4.7 trillion of cash value. So think about it for just a second. How many times have you sat down with a client and you're doing a review of their life insurance and their financial situation? They say, well, I got this old policy with XYZ company, fill in the blank. Doesn't matter who the company is. And you look at the policy and it's a $100,000 death benefit, but there's $98,000 in cash value. And you quickly realize, wait a second, these people don't have life insurance anymore, right? It really has outlived its purpose. So there's a great big fat opportunity to be able to transfer assets like that and assets in non-qualified annuities tax-free and put the client in a much better position as it pertains to long-term care. What allows us to do that is a law that, while not new, very few advisors actually have a real good command of. Now, the Pension Protection Act was introduced in January of 2010, and what it allows you to do is to completely exchange an existing annuity or an existing life insurance policy with cash value into a long-term care plan that conforms with the rules of the Pension Protection Act. And so in essence, what happens is say you've got a life insurance policy with $100,000 in cash value, you could exchange the entire value or portion of it through the partial 1035 exchange rule. Put it into a contract that you then get to take the gain plus all of the future growth and leverage out on a tax-free basis to pay for home care, assisted living, or nursing home. So when you start thinking about this from the perspective of your existing book of business, people that are in your prospect list, they all own, or most of them own, life insurance. Most of them probably don't have endowments anymore, but they have annuities. And if it's non-qualified, all of the policies on the left of this table, if you follow all the way to the right, can be exchanged for a long-term care plan that conforms to the Pension Protection Act. Now, we're really, really tickled to be able to tell you today that we now have some opportunities for guaranteed issues. So that means if you have somebody who owns a life insurance policy that's outlived its usefulness or a non-qualified annuity, you will be able to transfer those tax-free, get some leverage, and get the money out on the other end tax-free to pay for care. And here's the good part about it is in the states we've got this approved, it's all done through guarantee issue. So let's go ahead and continue. I mentioned earlier that there are states that are contemplating, considering, drafting legislation as we speak to consider implementing a long-term care, what this story in LTCI News calls a long-term care tax. Think of it as your local state government, where I live at in Missouri, mandating that I buy a long-term care policy, and if I don't do that, that they give me one that the state's going to create. We all know how that's going to turn out, right? The states that are on this map are all considering this. The only one who's implemented this is Washington State. And I was sharing this with Laurie Beck a couple weeks ago when we were talking about doing this presentation. I said, do you know there were 450,000 people who bought long-term care insurance so they did not have to have the state of Washington tax them and give them, pardon the expression, but a crappy plan that was only worth $36,000. And that's not a year, that was a total. Okay, so if you think about that, and your state is on here, or even if it's not, these changes, which while they're radical, will likely come to a state near you, if not your state. And so we believe that if you're a financial advisor on this call or an insurance agent, somebody who does employee benefits, you need to be aware of what's going on and the opportunity that it creates, because for every one of those 450,000 policies that were put in place, that meant there was an agent or an advisor involved, which meant that they had an opportunity to talk to the clients about their investments, assets under management, life insurance, annuities, etc. So when you think about this moving forward and you think long-term care, think about opportunity that it can create. So I mentioned that we were going to talk about a guarantee issue, Pension Protection Act annuity, and that is something that was available as of the 15th of the month, which would have been yesterday, and it's called the Bridge. Now, interestingly enough, the Bridge uses something called digital underwriting as the basic hallmark of how they're going to pull this off. I'm going to show you a short, it's about a 3-minute video that the consumer would actually see. And can you imagine for a moment that you sit down with the client this afternoon and you say, look, I think we should talk about this. Let me share with you how this is going to go. You show them a short video, and before you know it, we're into the underwriting process with an answer in the majority of the cases yet this afternoon with an underwriting decision. So no medical records. This is all done using this digital interface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just a short video, and then I'm going to come back and give you some real life case studies. And then remember, you want to stick around, because at the end, I'm going to save the best for last. I'm going to show you how to actually get your lead list and existing clients to raise their hand and say they want to come see you about the topic of long-term care. So let's go ahead and play this now.
Thank you for your interest in purchasing Bridge by Equitrust, a flexible alternative to traditional long-term care insurance, which allows you to leverage your savings to cover long-term care costs while potentially adding to your estate value by minimizing expenses. We're excited to provide an overview of this simple digital underwriting process so you'll know just what to expect during the live video interview. Underwriting is a process used by insurance companies to measure the amount of financial risk associated with issuing coverage to applicants. For traditional long-term care insurance, underwriting is usually a long, challenging process. It can take weeks to obtain medical and prescription records, conduct interviews, and get a decision. Additionally, it comes with a high rejection rate. Nearly 50% of all applicants are denied coverage. That's why we decided to use technology to solve this industry-wide problem. We are rewriting underwriting and replacing frustration with simplification. This innovative, seamless approach, powered by Assured Allies, is unlike anything in the market today. It combines cutting-edge technology with clinical research in a fast, simple live video experience. Taking an average of just 30 minutes to complete, it is conducted entirely online from the comfort of your home. All you need is a camera on your computer or tablet to allow visual contact between you and the interviewer. What's even better, it doesn't require any medical records, has a 100% acceptance rate as long as you meet the age requirements, and you will receive a quick decision on your coverage level. Let's walk through how the process works so you will know just what to expect. Your advisor will share instructions on how to prepare for the session. Upon completing a short list of health questions, you and your advisor can initiate the live video interview immediately or schedule for a later date, in which case you will receive an email with a link. Simply use the link provided in the email to log into the video session on the day of your interview. To begin the process, you'll be asked to read a short summary of the steps. Then you will meet your ally, a live person who joins the call to confirm your identity with a photo ID and provide support throughout the interview. Now, you get into the main part of the process, which will take you through a series of questions and tasks to evaluate your cognitive and physical abilities. For example, the cognitive section will involve word recall, such as repeating a short list of words and combining sequences like counting and letters. During the physical portion, you'll be asked to do some physical movements that demonstrate your balance and mobility, like standing from a seated position. After the interview, your advisor will be notified that your session has been completed and your long-term care benefits level has been determined. Once your application is processed and approved, you'll be eligible to participate in the innovative Never Stop Wellness Program that makes successful aging achievable. Assured Allies and Equitrust have collaborated to develop Bridge and the Long-Term Care Rider to help you live smarter, age better, and live life in the wow, now and in the future.
Okay, so that's the approach that that they will that we will take from a digital.
Thank you for your interest in
sorry about that.
Trying to a flexible alternative to traditional long-term care insurance, which allows you to leverage your savings to cover long-term.
All right, so let me see if we can get to the next slide.
Thank you for your interest in purchasing Bridge by Equitrust, a flexible alternative to traditional.
Gotta love technology sometimes, don't you, Don?
Yep. Austin, have an idea on what I need to do here?
Can you just close that screen out up at the top right? Can you just close it?
Let me see here. No, we don't want to do that.
Long-term care insurance, which allows you to leverage your savings to cover.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. We have all had those technology challenges. So, you know, it's Monday, right?
Right. Okay, so here we go. So that gives you kind of a sense of the coolness factor of what is to come with carriers. I think what's happening, Laurie, and I think the rest of the group watching will probably agree that when you can call or not call, but when you can go online with Amazon Prime and a gallon of milk can be on your front porch within hours, people don't want to wait for long decisions, right, in terms of underwriting. So the ability to make decisions quickly, the way that this digital underwriting process has been established, I think is going to be a game changer. When you marry the fact that there's going to be 3 rate classes, preferred, standard, and secured. Now, 70% of the people, as we understand, will apply and be approved at the preferred level. So what I'm showing here is a simple calculator that we can make available to you all on this call. So you're seeing here, this is a valued client in Georgia, age 65. He's got the preferred class, which by the way, doesn't mean that he's squeaky clean, but he's for 65, he would be okay. At age 82, the average claim age that average age somebody goes on claim, what would have happened by depositing that $200,000 into this account is he would have a long-term care pool equal to $770,000 of tax-free money. Put another way, you see it in the center of the black box, it says $12,836. Now here is the game changer. That is an indemnity benefit. For those of you who are new to long-term care, indemnity means cash benefit. That means you can hire your friends, family members. You could do whatever you want with the money because it's cash, okay? 60 months at $12,800. Again, I think this is a real game changer. Now, here's an example of what the same thing looks like if the person is issued standard. So 70% of the people will be issued preferred. 15% of the people that apply will get a standard rate. So that means that if you put in $200,000 today, you just move a non-qualified annuity, you put in cash, savings, checking, anything other than IRA, and what would the client have? He'd have $7,000 a month for 60 months. Again, for people who don't want extensive underwriting and physicals and things of that sort, this could make a ton of sense. Last but not least, 15% of the people will qualify for secured. If you noticed, I had to replay the video, quite frankly, a couple times, but it said 100% acceptance rate. 100% of the people that apply will get a policy. Okay, So that means if somebody has already been diagnosed with Parkinson's, they have dementia, there's a variety of things that could cause them to not be eligible for long-term care, asset-based long-term care, or even something like this, but there's still 100% acceptance. So watch what happens here. Client puts in $200,000, and at 65, at age 82, they have $5,834 a month. That's 60 months worth of almost $6,000 a month. And here's the kicker. It's tax-free because this is under the Pension Protection Act. So I know there's probably some annuity agents on the call today, and you might be thinking, well, Don, couldn't I just do that with a doubler rider with some of the companies? You could probably duplicate this, but the key is that the money on the income doubler is going to come out taxable as ordinary income. This comes out 100% income tax free. So it's absolutely a tool that you should have in your tool belt moving forward. Now, let me give you kind of the two scenarios and how we see this will work. You're meeting with people, you're using our free lead generation system, and the first person who responds is somebody who's been on your prospect list for a long time. And it's always this way, Laurie. They say, you know, the people who want to buy the insurance can't, because in this case, the guy was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's. And he's thinking to himself, heck, I'm still playing, 18 holes of golf, once or twice a month, and I'm doing pretty good. But are you telling me I can't get coverage? The answer is yes. He's going to be a decline everywhere else. So what we do is we explain to him that we have this program called the Bridge, and that it will allow him to stay at home. He can pick who his caregivers are, etc. And then we learn that he has some money in a checking or savings account, existing, in this case, an existing non-qualified annuity. He's going to do an exchange of the $200,000, and then it will, on a guaranteed basis, contractually guaranteed basis, grow to be worth $350,000. On day one, it has an increase of 25% that can go towards care. Now, there is a vesting period, which we can go into as we get further into this, but he could hire a friend or family member. So here's somebody who likely is in your prospect list or book of business as we speak right now, that thinks they have no options, and you can now deliver a solution that's going to put a smile on their face. He's going to be tickled pink that you're able to help him, because he doesn't think he can get coverage anywhere. And here's the good news. When you take the approach that you're going to do everything for your client and the client comes first, then once you've done that and you've checked that box, then it's all right to get paid really, really well for helping families. This happens to be the compensation on that $200,000 case. So as you can see, you're going to be paid rather well for helping your clients get something that they didn't think they were eligible to qualify for. So let's move into the second case, and then we'll finish up talking about the lead generation and how we move forward if that's something that you'd like to do. So here's a fella who was told by a lot of places that he could not qualify for long-term care because he has diabetes and he's had multiple heart attacks. He got turned down by 3 of the top traditional long-term care companies. Incidentally, those companies aren't even in business selling long-term care anymore. I mean, they're still in business, but companies like John Hancock, Prudential, MetLife, all big carriers at one point, all companies in the long-term care, all told him he wasn't healthy enough. So he meets with you, and you ask him 3 questions. And part of what we're going to teach you, if you're working with INA, is we're going to teach you the process that you must go through to make sure that you get the client the right kind of coverage, and that each one of these cases you can kind of cut to the chase and figure out if you're going to be able to help the family. So the first question we want you to consider, and hey, look, I know Laurie feels this way, I do. We hope that you decide to embrace working with INA and the Collective Simplicity team, but even if you don't, We want to offer value for you spending time. So if you were writing one thing down today, and only one thing, maybe write a lot down, but if you're going to write only one thing down, I would write these 3 questions down, because they will allow you to help a ton of families. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you got sick and needed long-term care tomorrow, where would you want to receive your care? Now, we can tell you that 88% of the people will say at home. So now the second question is, okay, Mrs. Smith, it's going to cost you, like in St. Louis, about $6,000 a month just to have enough long-term home care to stay out of a nursing home. If you average it over the normal claim period, that's $250,000. So, Mrs. Smith, what asset would you liquidate first if you found yourself needing care tomorrow? And they say, my IRA, non-qualified annuity, cash, whatever they say doesn't matter, because the power phrase is question number 3, which is, okay, Mrs. Smith, if there was a better way to use that annuity to pay for long-term care than you're thinking, is that something we should take a look at? I mean, this isn't long-term care training, guys and gals, this is sales training. If we get in a habit of asking these 3 simple questions, you will be amazed at the opportunities that will start falling in your lap. It's really that easy. Lori mentioned I was a personal producer. This is my almost 40th year. I'm starting my 40th year in 2023, and it always wasn't great, but once I figured out the formula, which was asking the right questions in the right order and having an organized presentation that I could repeat, everything kind of opened up, and we got to the point where things were great pretty much year after year. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Bob. So again, Bob, remember, he said he had got turned down. He said he was going to use his annuity. So we asked, if there's a better way, would you want to know about it? He says, yeah, but that annuity, I put $200,000 in 15 years ago. It was a variable annuity, could be index, fixed, doesn't matter. It's now worth $400,000. And so we explained to him that if all he does is uses the annuity and he begins to withdraw money from that annuity, what's going to happen is the first $200,000 is taxable as ordinary income. We all know this simple rule, but we sometimes forget it. I know I do. Remember LIFO, last in, first out. So the IRS says on a non-qualified annuity, the first thing to come out is the last thing that went in, which is what? Interest. So the first $200,000 Bob pays income taxes on. And he's surprised to learn that because his other agent never told him about this. So you explain to him that, look, there could be a better way. What if instead, Bob, we simply do a transfer of the $400,000 that you have in your non-qualified annuity through IRS 1035, which is the tax-free exchange rule in the Internal Revenue Code. Now, when we do that, what's going to happen is that $400,000, even though he was uninsurable everywhere else, is going to be worth $600,000. He'll have $10,000 a month. It's indemnity, which means, again, he can pay friends or family member, right? And it's tax-free. He can use it for home care, assisted living, and skilled care. So there's the calculator again. Look at what happens. He puts in $400,000, and 12 years later, this thing is contractually worth $608,000. It's a tax-free pool for long-term care. He gets to take out 10 grand a month. And oh, by the way, notice the guarantee account value. If he never uses it, he doesn't lose it. So if you don't use it, you don't lose it, Bob. I mean, this is very, very difficult. I think the hardest part, Laurie, for everybody on this call is going to be explaining to the client that this is not, it's not too good to be true, that this really does exist. Because when you look at it, so what did it cost the client? Well, the opportunity cost that he could have invested that $400,000, but on the other hand, he's got a way to take out all the money tax-free. And remember, he was uninsurable. So I wanted to drive that point home, and I wanted to say that again on a case like that, you will get paid fairly for your efforts. That's going to generate around 36,000. So we're at that point now in our presentation where I want to shift gears. If I've intrigued you a little bit, we got about 10 minutes left to talk, and then we're going to share with you how you get access to what I've covered so far, additional training, and probably most important, a lead generation system. Now, I know if you're like me, you get hit on from everybody. You get all kinds of emails saying, hey, we got the latest, greatest way to get you new leads. Here's what I'm going to say to you. Rather than go out and spend $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 trying to create leads, trust me on this. If you simply survey your clients, and I'll describe to you how to do that in just a second, and we built it for you so it's done for you, you will get existing clients and people on your prospect list to raise their hand and tell you they're interested in talking to you about long-term care. So imagine you take your unconverted leads, that's everybody that you've ever talked to, that you've got a name and email for, who for whatever reason hasn't hired you yet. They haven't bought insurance yet. And then you take your existing clients. You identify those people between 50 and 80, and you simply upload them to whatever your email provider is. Some use Constant Contact. I know there are advisors on the call that use Redtail. I know a few of you, and I know some people use MailChimp. It doesn't matter the email provider, but what we show you how to do is upload that list to your email provider, and then you simply send out the long-term care survey that we've already created for you by email, and then you follow up and schedule opening interviews with the people who respond, because they will respond in decent numbers. Now, if you're working with affluent clients, this is what your email that's going to go out will look like. You'll notice here it says receive a free gift card, complete our short long-term care survey. Thank you for being a loyal customer. In an effort to better serve you and our future clients, we've developed a long-term care survey, but we'd like to get your thoughts on how you feel about this as a way of saying thank you for completing this short 6-question survey. We'd like to enter you to receive a gift card. Okay, now that's if you're working with affluent families. Where I live at, in the marketplace I had, it was middle America, more working class people who had saved a fair amount in their 401ks. And in that case, I used a gift card program that was either like Walgreens or Target, right? And it was either $25 or $50 gift card. And it didn't say receive a free gift card. It said win a free gift card, because we ran it as a contest. So we can cover all of those details as you get acquainted with Carrie Ballinger and Laurie and the people on Laurie's team. But I want to show you what happens when the client gets it and they open up the survey. They're going to be taken, because we'll embed the link for you, so that all your client has to do is click on the link, and they'll be asked this first question: do you have a spouse, parent, or loved one who's currently receiving home care, assisted living, or nursing home? Now, you might say, Don, why would we want to know about that? If you have a husband who's already receiving care, isn't it twice as important for the spouse to take care of herself? And what happens if she gets sick? It creates not just a good lead, but a great lead. The next question looks the same, but it's different. It says, do you have a spouse, parent, or loved one who in the past needed home care, assisted, or nursing home? You care about that, and you want to know that, because those people are like speaking to the choir. They have experienced the pain of writing a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month check. And those, we found, are the easiest people to have this conversation with. They're just, quite frankly, waiting for you to call them about this topic. Now, the next question in the survey is, if you got sick and needed care, where would you want to receive it? And again, 88% people stay at home. If you got sick and needed care, what asset would you liquidate first? You see what we're doing here? We're starting a mini fact find, even in the prospecting part of this presentation. It works like mad. So they're going to check one of those. They're going to hover over that and check it. And then they're going to be asked would you like to receive free information about government tax incentives? That's the Pension Protection Act, by the way. And we've written a white paper that's compliant and client facing, and you can get it from Laurie and her team at INA. We'll provide it to you, and it works great. This is the information that they're requesting. What card would you like to receive? And they put their name, email, and in real time, you get the lead. Now, be careful what you wish for or pray for. Scott Mazinko, who's a good friend of mine up in New Jersey near the New York border, he said, Don, I don't know if this is going to work. My clients are all Medicare clients. He had 800 that he sent it out to. He has 275 responses as of 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon when he and I visited about it. So this will work, I promise you, if you just embrace it. We have phone scripts that are compliant, built in, ready to go. This is not something that we just thought of. We've been using this process for over 10 years. Now, you say, well, okay, so I've not done a lot of long-term care. How am I going to know what to say? You don't have to worry about it, because if you're working with INA and the team that's been assembled by Laurie, we're going to give you the actual presentation. And we don't have time to go through the whole thing today, but I'm going to share with you that the presentation asks those 3 critical questions we talked about. Once we get those questions out of the way, and you fill out the fact find, what you would then do is you would then email it into our team. And our team will then do the due diligence on all of the insurance companies to get the one that makes the most to you. Now, we're talking about Equitrust today and their guarantee issue, but make sure you realize that what we're going to do on every one of the cases that you show interest in, and you say, look, I want INA and the team to take a look at, we're going to look at all of the carriers to make sure that the recommendation is the best thing for your client. Okay, so that's our carrier list. We'll provide you with a meeting where we prepare you to make the sale, and then you'll get a customized plan design for your client. So here's an example of one for Susan Jones. And again, we don't have time to go into all of the gory details, but I can tell you I use this to generate at least $1 million of commission, and most years closer to $2 million a year for 20 years in a row before I switched gears and began teaching and working with advisors. So this thing works. It works like mad. And there's an example of what some of the pages in the presentation look like. What we did in this case is we showed the client on one page, how to use that non-qualified annuity to create tax-free money. And so I'm just kind of going through kind of quickly here, but I wanted to show you that the plan design that you'll get back will look pretty darn spectacular. As a matter of fact, you'll explain to the client that your team's done the research from over 2,000 companies. We got it down to the top 3, and we're going to be showing them one that makes really good sense for them today. And then the beauty of it is we're going to take all of the guesswork out of it, and we're going to give you a 1-page overview that's client-facing that will explain to the client using pictures how this actually works, okay? So in this example, the client was transferring $247,000 of an existing non-qualified annuity, and they are getting with one of our other carriers an unlimited tax-free pool of money that they can never outlive. And if they don't use it, they don't lose it because the money's still there. We show the company illustrations, and we provide you with a way to close the case. So I've covered a lot, Laurie. We promised 45 minutes. We're at 40 minutes now, so I think it's safe to move forward to the next and final phase of our presentation today. So if you're on the call and you're saying, boy, Don has really intrigued me, I love this, I want to get access to the asset-based long-term care lead generation program for free, I want to learn more about guarantee issue long-term care, and as important as that is, I want to get access to the other 3 training sessions that he's built. If you've liked what you've heard, we've got even more, and they're a little bit more in depth. You want to get access to those, and the lead generation program, we'd love to have you join arms with us at Simplicity, and more particularly with INA and Laurie's team. So if you're like me and you've been on these presentations before, you're probably saying, okay, Don, what's the catch? And I'd be less than truthful, Laurie, if I told them there wasn't a catch, right? So let me tell you what the catch is. It's not very painful. You get appointed, right? You get appointed through INA for, at a minimum, Equitrust. We can talk, Laurie and her team talk about that. But that's the key, right? So what you're going to get is tremendous back office support. I mean, Laurie mentioned since 1987, her team is a crown jewel of insurance marketing organizations. They do it as good as anybody I've seen, and we'd love to have you on board. So as you would expect, there were over 350 people that registered to be on this call. We're going to get overwhelmed, I know. So what I'm going to say, and we're going to do this, the only fair way is in the order in which you fill out the form in the chat. That's how we're going to be able to work with you. So if you are interested and you want to move forward and you want to get access to the lead generation guarantee issue, all the training and future training that we'll be having, you need to go ahead and click the link. Austin has been kind enough to put it in the chat box. Just go ahead and now we're going to give you a second to click that, open it up. It's just going to ask you for your name, your phone number, and your email. Please give us that information, and then what we'll do is you'll be hearing from Carrie Ballinger and potentially some of the other team members on the INA staff. And then what we'll do is we'll make arrangements to get you the free lead generation tool. It only takes about 24 hours to set that up. We'll also get you the necessary appointment paperwork for Equitrust. So if you haven't done that, Austin, I'm guessing that that's pretty straightforward. They just simply click on the link, they open up the form, fill it in, and we've got the information we need. We're obviously interested in working with organizations, individuals that want to do the right thing for the client and find some value in what we just covered. So Laurie, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Don. I appreciate that and appreciate your time, and certainly covered a lot of information in a brief period of time. What I would suggest and say to all of you is, oh, there we are. What I would suggest and say to all of you quite simply is, if you have any questions, if you need anything from us, just give us a call. We'd be happy to help you. And if you didn't see anything here that got you excited and you didn't hear something that sounded good to you, or maybe it sparked another question in your mind, whatever the case may be, reach out to us and let us help you. This is our 800 number. If you want to call out that number right now and reach out to us, happy to help. Fill out that form, we'll call you. Those of you already working with a member of our team, certainly you could reach out to that person as well. But we're here to help, and we know not all prospects look alike, and we know not all situations look alike. And that's why what's important to us is just having a conversation with you about what you're looking for. So again, appreciate your time today. Fill out that form, probably the fastest, easiest way. Type in what it is you're looking for, even if it's not, what you heard about today. If there's something else we can help you with, we'll make sure all of your questions get answered. We'll make sure all of those get routed to the right person. Anything you want to close with, Don, or are we good to let all these amazing people go?
Yeah, I think that's great, great, Laurie, and hopefully everybody's found some value in the information today, and we look forward to working with you guys and the advisors as we move forward.
We sure will. And again, I thank you. I did see some questions that came across the chat. I'll be answering those to you individually. So definitely, if you typed in a question and we didn't get to it, don't worry. I will respond to all of your questions myself and make sure that we get an answer back out to you. So again, on behalf of myself and the entire Insurance Network and Simplicity teams, we thank you for your time today. Go have your best week ever, and happy holidays next week. Thank you.